Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Loreweek. I am, as ever, your host, the Lore Runner. Now, I know that at the beginning of every Loreweek we have show news, but we're actually going to do that in reverse today, because the random news is irrelevant, and I want to talk for a bit about the show news. So if you want the really quick, 101 for the show news, I'm going to tell you what the Cyberpunk vote result is, I'm going to tell you about the projector, tell you about the killing off things, I'm going to tell you about the theater. Okay, there you go, bam. No, we're not in DST here in the States. That's happening next week? I'm pretty sure it's 2 weeks from now. Hang on. Yep, 2 weeks from now is when DST hits in the States. So, like I said, let's smash some random news real quick. First and foremost, Crucible shut down for Amazon. I don't know how many of you even remember Crucible. It's totally fine if you don't. Crucible was their first-person shooter game that sucked. I say that, it would be more accurate to say that it was generic. There was nothing interesting or fun or whatever about it. It was just kinda there. It has been shut down. And it is being shuffled over into New World. The staff and personnel and resources are just going to go to their incredibly generic MMO, which is also pretty generic and terrible. Anyways, so that's what's going on with Crucible. They're offering refunds, so that's a good thing. I'll give them credit on that one. But I do have to admit, I absolutely just, I don't even know what to make of this. It's kind of silly, if I'm being blunt. It's, as I said before, Amazon's approach with these games has been incredibly stupid so far. What they've been doing is they've been workshopping to make the most generic game humanly possible, because that's the safe choice. But unfortunately, anybody who has a brain could tell you that that's actually immensely stupid. Because if you go for the safest choice possible, unless you already have massive brand recognition or an existing user base at your back, all you're going to do is have a game that people are going to like, okay. And then you get your really small group of people who will try to defend it, because there's always that group of people, and then that's it. That's what you got. Anyways, in other news, Gamestop was eaten by Microsoft. I'm not sure what I think about that. I suppose the idea is that Microsoft wants a distribution arm, and from that perspective, that makes perfect sense. So now GameStop can actually handle the physical release and digital distribution release of Microsoft games, and Microsoft can hands off that whole thing and just let them deal with it. So that makes sense. I gotta say, I mean, I don't care. I don't really buy Microsoft games in the strictest sense of the word. Certainly not in the Microsoft Store. And I don't have an Xbox of any kind. And GameStop can go to hell, to be perfectly blunt. I have disliked GameStop since the PS2 era, so this is not exactly anything new. Meanwhile, Level 5 is shutting down their North American department for reasons unknown, and their current plans for future releases in North America are also unknown. Which, both of those are suckitude territory right there. Level 5 doesn't exactly have the best record of games in the universe, but at the same time, they did make quite a few really good games, including Dragon Quest VIII, Rogue Galaxy, Dragon Quest IX, White Knight Chronicles, Ni no Kuni, of course, and my personal favorite, believe it or not, Fantasy Life on the 3DS. But unfortunately, if you actually look at the Level 5 development thing, well, do you remember years and years and years ago that I was like, I don't like fantasy games. I don't like mobile games because they are so much cheaper to make that they make more profit than actual games. And yeah, I'm going to say it that way. So that was going to remove development from actual games. And quite a few people were like, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're dumb. So anyways, Level 5 basically has been making nothing but mobile games for the last however many years, with like 2 or 3 exceptions, which is the yokai stuff. They're not the only company like that. There's actually several companies that have been shifting more and more to mobile development because it's so much cheaper, and it makes more money. As usual, I hate to be right. Anyways, I have a feeling that those two facts are related. The switch towards mobile and the reduction of American development. In fact, looking at their games, I think the last game that they had that actually came out over here was Ni no Kuni 2, which was 2 years ago. Which isn't that long ago, but they've come out with several games since then, and that was... yeah. Whatever. It could be unrelated. I'm just saying, this, it sucks. That's it for random news. Let's talk about show news. By the way, good morning, everyone. I do hope today is finding you well, and if it's not, then there will be stabbings. Did you know? Alright, so. First of all, some of you are probably wondering at the results of the Cyberpunk Voot. This was the Voot to decide whether or not we're going to do Cyberpunk the day it comes out, or the week after it comes out. I am completely unsurprised to mention that we will be playing Cyberpunk a week later, which wasn't exactly a landslide victory. It's not like this is New Zealand or anything, but it was certainly a fairly large victory. So, week later, you got it. Like I said, I didn't have a stake in that. That is going to be interesting, because given the timing of that, it's actually possible I will not have my new computer by the time Cyberpunk comes out. I'm still trying to get hold of a GPU, and the CPU I want isn't even out yet. My new tower is just sitting right there, empty. Can't really do much with it right now. Oh yeah, I suppose I should mention I'm leaning towards not doing a stream or a recording of the build, even though I know several people want that. I'll debate it, but there's actually going to be some interesting hardware issues with building it and streaming or recording it at the same time, since both will be the same thing. I'll think about it. I'd rather not, just because I'm fat and ugly, and that's the reason. I'll go ahead and tell you it, but we'll see. Some of you are probably wondering why the camera is right in front of us again, for those of you who didn't actually catch that. No, you were correct, Zach Depp. We'll be playing Resident Evil 3 Remake tomorrow. For, I'd say 5-ish years, probably longer if I'm being honest, one of my quiet, that's also true, Dream Whisperer, that's a good point. One of my quiet background wants, one of the things that I've been wanting to do for a while now, is to have a projector screen as my main monitor. Well, a few weeks ago, after it's a substantial amount of effort and work and research and all that fun stuff, I finally selected, no, Jimmy Shiv, I haven't watched Discovery Season 2, or 1, or Picard, or Lower Decks. But anyway, so, yeah, I've been wanting a projector screen for a very, very long time, and I finally knuckled down, I finally got one, I finally selected one. It was a very good projector. It looked amazing. You know, I took a few pictures of it in action, and it was fantastic. It was basically everything I wanted. It was quiet. It was something that I could physically position here. It also had input delay. 70 milliseconds of input delay, which probably doesn't sound like a lot. In which case, trust me. I actually mentioned this to a friend of mine, and his response was, ugh, 70? Yeah, no, it was awful. It was effectively unplayable. It's not a new chair. It's the same chair I've had for years now. It's just the slip is currently drying out. Yeah, so it was effectively unplayable. But even ignoring the whole... No, not 7 seconds. It's 70 milliseconds. It's actually just like... It is certainly less than a second. But God, it's so visible and it's so obvious. And... to be clear, like, I want you to imagine you're on your computer right now, and you grab, like, just a window, and you're just moving the window, and then you're going to select a specific precise spot in the window to start typing something in it. Even doing that, the delay made awkward and weird. So then I was like, okay, that's a problem, but let me go ahead and actually try to play a few video games in it. And then it became much, 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 much worse of a problem. To the point where even doing something like... there was a trick in Super Metroid, a very easy trick, which I know very well, which I couldn't do consistently, because the timing was so far off that I couldn't manage it. over and over and over again. So completely unworkable. It is a damn shame because other than the input delay, it was exactly what I wanted. So I returned it. That's what one of the things I was doing Friday, was returning that. That's been returned. That's tossed back. We're back to a normal monitor here. I did a little bit more research on that. Apparently there are actually projectors which can go down to 16 millisecond input delay, which is a little bit noticeable. I'm not sure if it's really workable or not. I will have to do some more testing with that. But that's apparently the floor, is 16 milliseconds. To give you guys a little bit of perspective, the monitor I am currently playing on has 1 millisecond input delay. So, just to give you an idea of what we're working with here. Anyways, so that sucked, but, you know, first world problems. Not a huge issue, it's just frustrating. A fun little side note, though, and this is mostly just an FYI kind of a thing. If you're interested in trying to get one of the 43-inchers, because that's a fairly common gaming monitor thing, near as I was looking into this as well, near as I can tell, every 43-inch gaming monitor out there has 2 problems with it, both of which, in my opinion, make them unworkable for gaming. Problem number 1 is a massive amount of motion blur because of the way that they render subpixels, which is related to problem number 2, which is the subpixel rendering. I want you to imagine that there's a box, right? And let's say this box is white and this thing here is blue. Everything around it is blue. You're going to see a thin layer of, like, blurred white at the edge of this because the design of it is effectively automatically anti-aliasing. So everything is going to be blurry. Now, if the monitor's several feet that way, you probably won't notice. If it's on your desk, like mine would be, you would probably notice that constantly. So a little bit of an FYI there. Thank you very, very much, Emperor Valerian. As always, appreciate those subs. Thank you. I don't suppose you know where you would like to put that. I don't even have that thing up right now. Holy crap. It's over here now. So anyways, we're back to the normal plain Jane monitor. Xenogears, you got it, sir. All right. Fresh reminder, speaking of which, this is the next thing I was going to talk about anyways. We are going to, of course, be having Polemic Day. Rule 0 still applies. Rule 0 always applies. That's why it's Rule 0. The only other rule for Polemic Day is that I reserve the right to executive veto, aka if you walk up to me and say, Lore, tell me your driver's license number, and I will probably say no. If you're wondering when exactly that is, it'll be starting at the usual time, which is at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 31st. It is also on the website, if you happen to be curious. Okay, so that's Cyberpunk, that's Projector, that's the... Oh, quick reminder for the theater. So right now, obviously, we're still taking people who are interested in working on the Undertale theater. For anybody who is curious about that, just get a hold of me and we'll try to figure something out. I am still... Several people... This actually makes me happy. Several people have been asking, you know, what the heck is going on with the FF9 theater. I am currently waiting on Ryokami, Random Bystander, Roximus, and Ruth Peleg for their lines. All of them... I've been in contact with all of them. And, you know, all of them seem to be alive, and all of them seem to still be interested in doing the project. I do have backup people to replace all of them, if worse comes to worse, which I would rather it not. But we are getting to the point where that's it. Like, I'm just sitting here like, we're at the 90% range. The overwhelming amount of work has already been done. I've already actually done most of the audio design work in order to balance everything out. At this point, I'm just kind of waiting. So, fingers crossed that that's going to come out at some point. Feel free to poke at those people to convince them to go ahead and get me some lines. Now let's talk about the last thing. This is the only thing I really had to discuss today. Let me pull this over here. So there's a new concept, which is... I'm not sold on this idea, but it's a concept I want to workshop with you guys, and I want your guys' opinions on this. As usual, this applies for those of you in the VOD as well. So please put your comments in the VOD, or just comment right now and be like, yo. I mean, that is kind of where I'm at, Max Time. I have offered... This is a true statement. I've offered to pay these people. I've actually paid one of them in order to get me lines, and I still don't have lines. 2 of them. I've paid 2 of them. Sorry. Anyways, so right now, the way our system works is we have the queue and we have the list, right? I know that's not super visible, just bear with me. There's only so much I can do with it. I guess I could have made it black. So we got the queue and we get the list. The queue here is stuff that, this is stuff that has been funded. If you go to lorerunner.com/upcoming, or you type in next in chat, you will get a link to the queue. Thank you very much, Ciela, for interrupting me. I do, as always, appreciate those interruptions. Thank you very, very much. I'll put that towards whatever max time puts it towards. And I'm going to stop acknowledging donations for a moment, because I do want to get all this out here, because I need your input. So, this is the queue. The list over there is the stuff that's still being funded. So, just as a hypothetical, let's say that Metal Gear Solid, these are all made-up ones, okay? So, don't worry about it. These are just the images I had handy here. But let's say Metal Gear Solid hasn't been funded, because nobody's putting money towards this. But, and Majora's Mask is still currently being funded. But over here we have Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest. And this is funded, so this is now over in the queue. Woo! So that's where we're at, right? And then these kind of get bumped up technically by virtue of being in that order of funding. This is how the system works right now. However, in a hypothetical scenario in which we somehow actually manage to finish out the queue, what we would do next is just start going down the list. Now, there's actually several issues with that. In fact, there's 3 major issues with that, which I'm not going to cover right now because it's not important. But I think I might have come up with a way that might mitigate this, depending on if you guys are okay with this. The idea here is, let's go ahead and let's bring Dragon Warrior back. So that's why we're playing through Dragon Warrior. And some time has passed, and it's gotten to the point where we're mostly locked in, and people are mostly putting donations and whatnot towards Dealer's Choice. And thank you, Mandekler. Very, very much appreciate that support. Thank you. I will put that towards Dragon's Dogma. So let's say we get to the point where nobody's putting money towards Metal Gear Solid. Now, I want to be clear about the way I'm saying this, because... No, Magister. Because you might think, well, hang on, how do you define lack of support towards a game? Well, that's actually easy. Because it's really, really, really obvious from a behind-the-scenes perspective for me which runs are niche runs that 1 or 2 people are dedicatedly trying to get happen, and runs that aren't, that people will occasionally donate towards, or one person put forward and then other people forgot, or whatever, right? There's also another caveat here. We'll get to that in a moment. But either way, the idea here is to add a 3rd category. Now, those of you, some of you are aware of the fact that we're going to have a nominations cycle and then a voting cycle when it comes to Streamgates starting next May. So the idea here is we're going to effectively be axing the run that doesn't have any funding here by putting it automatically over to the nominations thing. All donations and interest that's already been put towards the run already is still there. I will still be keeping track of that because that's literally just copying and pasting a column into a separate sheet. That's very super easy. Barely an inconvenience. But putting it over there also means that it's automatically nominated, whereas other games would have to be nominated with money. But this one's already been nominated because money's already been put towards it. Thus, when the next Streamguide cycle works out, this is now on the list for people to vote on automatically. This is the idea in a nutshell. Now, the current hypothetical is, let's say Metal Gear Solid does not actually get voted on. What would happen is it would just stay there. So let's do another hypothetical here. Let's say we're down to this point, and Majora's Mask is still being funded, so it's fine. But nobody's putting money towards these ones, so these go over here into the nominations pile. We do a Streamgates voting cycle. People vote. Dragon Warrior gets voted back in. It goes back into the list. Metal Gear Solid does not. It just stays over in the nomination pile. Now, the idea here is that games would effectively just stay in the nomination pile forever, unless it reached a point in which multiple Streamgate cycles have gone through, and if this just consistently is getting no interest, then that would be the point at which it would actually be deleted and torpedoed and no longer be part of the list. This is the idea in a nutshell. Thoughts? up these so we can see chat. It's the count. How many cycles am I giving for Torpedo'd? Honestly, I'm thinking 2, because that's like a year. If a game hasn't really gotten interest or funding and hasn't been voted on for a year, that's probably a good time to go ahead and nuke that out. Thank you very, very much, the Count. As ever and as always, appreciate that support. Thank you. I don't know if I've asked you this before. Let me check the spreadsheets. For I have so many. Hang on, I've seen a lot of questions. Give me just a second. I got interrupted by a donation. You can all thank the Count for this. Yep, okay, so do you mind telling me why you're putting that towards dealer's choice, the Count, so I can jot that down for polling reasons? Alright, so questions. What would happen if someone donated to put a game that just been removed back in the nominations? Then it would be re-added back to the nominations, Mike. I don't understand Max Time's statement? Well, it won't quite be the same as the Vault, since you won't see it. The only time you will notice a game that is in the nominations thing will be when I actually put up the vote. The Streamgates vote. It'll still be in my spreadsheet, but nothing will be indicating that anywhere else. Which you might think, why does that matter? Psychology. The money put towards a game is lost. If we get to the point where a game has not really had a lot of interest towards it, and it's been put in nominations and failed to vote, and then put in nominations and failed to vote, then yes, the money put into that game will just be lost at that point. What do I play when the queue is empty and games on the list aren't funded? I get that question all the time, Caspian. That will... it's almost mathematically impossible for that to happen. So that's your answer. Non-applicable. A game that was axed can be brought back in the future. I don't see why not, although I don't want a situation where someone is like okay. We have a problem where some people will be like, oh, it'd be cool if you'd play such and such, and then they'll put one sub towards that, and then that's it. Got it. So we'll put that in nothing interesting. So we'll put that here. Thank you, the Count. Where's the spreadsheet? Hang on. Bug Fables. Thank you for the bits, Sean. I will put that towards Bug Fables immediately. To give you an idea of how mathematically unlikely that is, I could actually right now, with the dealer's choice donations that I have, fund every single run in the list. All of them. There's no actual work involved, though, Max Time. It is the exact same amount of work. It's copying from one sheet over to another sheet. That's the extent of the work. So I'm not sure what your point is there exactly. No, Fringe Philosopher. They just take too much time, and that's not happening. So, Mike says, what if one person really wants a game is putting a lot of money behind it? Then that's not getting axed. In fact, that's not getting nominated. Let me give you an example of a game that might be axed. Neo. Neo has a grand total of 6 people have put a small amount of money towards it. It is nowhere near funding. Let me give you an example of a game that is substantially less likely to get axed. Give me a moment. Days Gone. Because Days Gone is similarly nowhere near being funded. However, 2 people have dedicatedly and regularly been putting money towards that pretty much every month. We've also got games like Far Cry New Dawn, which isn't going away, because, I mean, it's a small game to fund anyways. But because one person has been consistently and dedicatedly putting money towards that. By contrast, we have something like Dungeons 3, which is not only nowhere near funded, but basically no one's been putting money towards for months upon months. Or satisfactory would also qualify here. Or Rebel Galaxy Outlaw, which is also absolutely nowhere. But by contrast, Devil May Cry 5 Bloody Palace is probably going to happen because one person is consistently and regularly putting money towards that run. You see the idea here? The rule behind what gets axed and what gets not is most simply explained as my call. But my call involves all the info, right? Because I have all the info. That's why I keep all these records. That's why I keep track of all this stuff. I look at this and I'm like, well, okay. Right now, I could axe Fist of the North Star, Lars Parados, Miss Pac-Man, Magic the Gathering Arena, Steins Gate Elite, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, and Mortal Kombat 11. I could axe all of those just right now. I bet you money if I actually just remove those from the list, people wouldn't even notice. By contrast, if I got rid of, say, MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, which is a game that's not very well funded, I'm pretty sure people would notice that because there's several people, in fact there's 4 people who've been dedicatedly trying to fund that one. Get the idea? So like I said, the variable would be me. I would be the one making the call. Well, I will also admit, so let's discuss some of the problems with the current system. And there might be another solution to this. That's why I'm talking this out here. Problem number 1 is, let's say you want me to play... I don't want to use Xenosaga as an example. Hang on a second. Dragon Warrior 7. Sure. Excuse me, Dragon Quest 7. So you nominate Dragon Quest 7. Okay. Well, I know from experience that Dragon Quest 7 is about a 70 to 100 hour RPG. That's gargantuan. Let's say that in order to lock in this, in order to ensure that this run is played, all you have to do is donate $2. Or $1, actually, because $1 is the minimum amount for anything. So you put $1 in, and then let's say over the course of the next, several months, what happens is maybe 4 or 5 other people put maybe $10 or $15 towards it. Under the current system, what would happen is we would have to play that game for $15 from 6 people. A 70 to 100 hour game. This is one of the problems of the current system. And there are several games where this is actually a problem we're running into. Where is my freaking spreadsheet? Did I close the spreadsheet? Why did I close the spreadsheet? I meant to minimize it. Hang on. There we go. Like, I don't know if you've looked at the long tab lately. No, that's correct, Takoida, but the point, you get the point. That would now guarantee that we are now spending 2 weeks playing a game that nobody wanted me to play, or that nobody was willing to put the money to play towards playing, and you get the idea. Because, yeah... Now, some of these numbers can be tweaked, obviously, but you do see how that is a legitimate concern. It's a concern I'm already staring at because I'm staring at the numbers right here. I got them right in front of me. Admittedly, I'm not sure... No, it's green. This is green. Dot'em D, dot'em die. I'm not sure what to do with some of these. So now, okay, as it always comes with this kind of thing, this is effectively a political question. The question comes up, is that a problem? Because it's not like we will be gaining no money during those 2 weeks. People will still hop in. People will still be subbing. The patrons will still be putting money in every month. So it's entirely feasible and reasonable to state that that it's not like I will suddenly stop making money. This is not a situation where I'm no longer producing a product. It's just, it will be a long run that will take up a lot of time that not a lot of interest was put towards. Whether that's a problem or not is something that's a debate. Right? I don't actually know. That's something that's kind of in the air. Yeah, one thing I've started keeping track of, too, just for the heck of it, is money per time thing. But that's unrelated. Why does this keep doing this? There we go. Dumb thing. Sorry, not you guys. And yeah, Takoida also brings up a very valid point. There's no real motivation to fund a particular run if you decide to game the system. This has not been a problem so far, I will point out. So far you guys have been decent human beings. But if someone decided to put $2 towards Dragon Warrior 7, Dragon Quest 7, and then that's it, that person has just bought a stream and review of Dragon Quest 7 for $2. Because that you could game the system like that under the current system. Now, that's what do you call that? Oh god, there's a term for that. What is that called? I can't think of that. Because it's an evil jackass who's drunk, Zactaft? I don't even understand this question. Have you read Iron Man in the comics? Oh my god, what's the freaking phrase? You put out a jar of cookies in the middle of the office, and you say bleh for trusting people to not just go and steal all the cookies. There's a term for that, and I can't frickin' think of it. The honor system, thank you. Right now, the system works a lot on the honor system. That's a lot of how this works, is I'm basically trusting you guys to not try to game the system and not try to exploit. This is funny because a lot of my pen and paper rule sets for custom rules tend to rely on the honor system as well. Although in those cases, there's always the GM involved. I suppose that's an interesting point, though, to compare that to D&D. Because the counterbalance when it comes to playing, my pen and paper games is me, right? Like I have the ultimate and executive veto on whatever happens there, and so if someone decides to exploit the system, I can just say no. Yeah, the GM's always right. So what I could do is, instead of having a system for axing a game or a series of games, I could just do it if I feel it is necessary to do so. Because, again, I do have that executive veto, I do have access to this information, I do see the games that do not have a lot of interest, I do also see the games that 1 or 2 or 3 people are trying to push. Because I have the data, that's why I keep track of all this crap. I did see it, Shadow Machine. I haven't had time. I'm sorry. I do plan to get to it today. Thank you, SJ, for the bits. Very, very much. So the only concern here at this point... I don't need it. Valerian, thank you, though. The main reason I was reaching out to you on that one was if you still wanted to be involved. Like, I know that sounds awful. I didn't need you. I wanted to make sure you had the opportunity to be involved. That was the reasoning there. Where's SJ? SJ. What we've done in the past is we ask the people. Like, for example, I could say, hey, Maverick, Hariant, and Gavel. Where do you put them, Trevor? You got it, SJ. There we go. Which is not always available, by the way. There's plenty of people who I basically can't get a hold of. In fact, there's someone I'm technically still trying to get a hold of right now. J15951, who I haven't been able to get a hold of in literally over a month and a half at this point. Because the game he put $2 for and no one else put any money towards got DMCA'd. It got nuked, so that game doesn't exist anymore. So it's not a perfect system. Okay, so that's one objective nuked. I can just be the dictator. It's fine. I know how to be the dictator. I've run a guild before. I've been a manager before. I got this. So that leaves us with question number 2. So I'm not sure I mean, autocrat is fine. Dictator is an accurate statement. Yeah, I didn't get the notification Imperial Structure. I believe you, though. I believe you. Hang on. You put that towards Legend of Legaia. I remember that. So I will say, even though you're totally lying to me, thank you very much, Imperial Star Destroyer. I'll put that towards Legend of Legaia. The other... Yeah, I'm not a tyrant. At least nobody's ever told me I'm a tyrant. You guys would tell me, right? My other and only other concern is, let's say the Streamgates come along. And let's just use a fantasy scenario here. And... Come on, guys. If I'm being unreasonable, I do expect people to tell me that. Because I don't always catch myself. I try to, but I don't always succeed. It's like, I was talking to Laura Loaded about this, actually, with regards to the Star Trek Rewrite Project. Because the idea is we want as much feedback from viewers and fans as possible, but we're still the dictators, if that makes any sense. We get the final call, but we want people involved in the process. And that's been my approach for a long time, ever since I was a manager, actually. Back in the day was, I want your feedback, I want your opinion, but when I make the call, I make the call. Let's say that the Streamgates come around, and we open up for nominations, and we get 25 slots, right? And people vote in, just off the top of my head, I know this is making it, but Star Ocean 2 PSP, Xenogears, Trails in the Sky 2, Legend of Legaia, DBZ Kakarot, FF4 After Years, Fire Emblem 3 Golden Deer, Bloodborne, Fire Emblem 3 Blue Lions, Dragon's Dogma, Heaven's Word Neo, Nier Automata, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Days Gone, Pokemon Black and White, Alundra, Pokemon Explorer of the Sky, Starmancer, and Dying Light 2. There you go. 25 games, right? Let's say that it's all long games. What do we do about that? I'm open to suggestions on that one. I mean, we could just say, okay, we have 25 games. We could just do that. And yeah, Takoida, see, this is... Remember we were deciding, we're still kind of debating this. What is the length of the long game? Anything 30 hours and up is defined as long, but I mean, any game that's going to take most of a week is probably a long game. Hang on. Thank you, Jaludo. Very, very much. I do appreciate it, as always. Thank you. I'll put that towards Coteries. Speaking of games, that one's been getting a lot of attention recently. I don't know why. So... Oh yeah, I just realized I'm doing the Mass Effect thing, aren't I? Yeah, let me get rid of these images. Boop. To get this little visual presentation thing. Whoop, that's the wrong thing. So... Oh, Dragon Quest VII is so long. Oh my god, I like that game, but damn. Dragon Quest VII is the Persona 5 of that series. Oh, that would explain it, Gelato. Takoida does bring up a very valid point. So, this is something we do still have to decide. It's not something that needs to be decided right now. But, for example, there is a strategic difference. What are you guys doing? Hang on. Thank you, Sean, for the bits, as always. I'll put that towards 3. Yep. And Brydine is just killing me over here. What the heck are you doing, Brydine? Thank you so, so much. Always appreciate. Thank you. I'll put that towards Pokemon Explorers of... One of these days I'll remember the full name of the game. In my notes I just call it Pokemon Explorers to make it quick. What are you doing? You guys are killing me. Thank you very, very much, Shikor. As always. And I will put that towards, which... I swear to God, you licked my boots anymore, Shikor. I'll put that towards Path of Radiance. Alright, so... There's a strategic difference. I'm gonna get this sentence out here one of these days. Between when I pick my slots. Remember, I get 25 slots, you get 25 slots, right? And the overwhelming majority of you want me to just be able to pick my slots, and that's that. And I could put donations, dealer's choices towards those to fund those, right? And I can be nice and strategic about when I fund those, so those kind of slot into the list whenever. That's easy. That's done. So I get 25 slots. I pick what they are. I put dealer's choices towards them. All that's pretty set in stone at this point. What is not is when I pick those slots. Because there's and if I choose in advance, you guys know what I already want to play and can know not to bother, right? If by contrast, you guys choose first, I can then strategically choose what I choose elsewise to balance things out. Let's say you guys, let's flip this. Let's say you guys nominate 25 Mega Man games, even though there aren't 25 Mega Man games. No, Mike Romano. They go, give me a second. So you guys have nominated 25 games that are super, super short. Then it would be on me to look at this and say, well, this would be a good time to slot in. Yeah, but I think we're going through all of them this year, Torsion. So there won't be 25 Mega Man games left. So I could look at that list and say, okay, well, I could start adding some longer games to this. Like, I could toss in Ogre Battle. Let's see, look at my list here. I could throw in some of the Pokemon games, Mass Effect. I could slot in there. Alpha Centauri. I could slot in a few of the longer games on my own list, depending on what you guys do. So throw in the WoW. I mean, the WoW stuff is on here. It is in my queue, my list, my whatever you want to call that. My... we came up with another word. I don't remember what it was called. It doesn't matter. My bevel? So the point is, if I pick first, you guys have the strategy. You guys get to pick based on my picks. If you guys pick first, then I get to pick based off of your picks. So that's what this really boils down to. Who do we want to have the strategic choice of picking, you or me? That's another debate, hazardous, is limiting the number of long games that could be put onto the list. Although that's going to be a thing. Actually, practically executing that will not be as easy as it sounds. Yeah, there's also... I have a feeling you guys want me to cover RPGs. I don't know why. And as a consequence, a lot of those are going to be long. At the very least, they're going to be mediums. It's also worth noting, if I pick first, that means that if anybody's actually interested in a game that I put on the list, then you could just put money towards that rather than putting it towards dealer's choice. Lord knows that's kind of already a thing. Kinda. And by the way, if you're wondering how I will notate which games are mine on the list, that system's already in place. If you go to the website right now, which I will also do, just to show you. And let's see, let's look at the medium list. There you go. If you click the medium tab, you will notice that there are 2 games in the medium tab that are my picks. Yeah, it's the run Lore's interested in. It's already a thing. The graphic is different, the text is different, and there's a little icon right next to it. Pretty obvious which ones are my picks. Yeah, did you know I have a website, guys? I think I'm going to throw up a straw poll. Since the Cyberpunk vote is over, we don't have an active poll, so I don't mind making a new one. Oh, I would definitely pick at least a few long games. At least. Because there are long games I want to cover too. I mean, don't mistake me. I mean, here, let's... Yes, it's on GeoCities. Oh my god, I had a GeoCities site back in the day. So, like, I'm looking at my list, right? We got the Marios, we got the Kirbys, we got the Punch-Outs. All of these are super short. Short. Then we got the Pokemons. Those are long. No, my Kamano. The things that I'm interested in don't gain more or less priority. It's just I tend to reallocate dealer's choice towards those. Or at least I will. I have not been. Because Valerian's insane and evil, I guess. I don't know. What I do right now, for those of you who don't know this, sorry, give me just a sec, Valerian. For those of you who don't know this, I don't actually put dealer's choice towards games I want to play right now. That's not been the policy. The intention is for that to become a policy. Right now what I do is I look at those games that are niche games, and that's where those go. Like, for example, Days Gone, which is a run that will happen because a few dedicated people have been putting money towards it, right? So that's where those go, right? Same thing with, I mentioned earlier, what's it frickin' called? Bloody Palace. Devil May Cry 5 Bloody Palace. That is a run that dealer's choice go towards in order to make sure it happens. It's a customer satisfaction, customer service kind of reallocation process is what we do right now. Now, that will probably still be a thing in the future. It's just I will also put those towards things that I actually want to play in the future, which I do not do right now. But anyways, real quick. So there's plenty of short games, but then I've got like the Pokemon games, which I would love to review. Like we haven't reviewed a lot. I got the Mass Effects, I got Dragon Age 2, which I very much want to review. Diablo 3 is a game I want to review. StarCraft 2 is a game I want to review. Fallout New Vegas is a game I want to review. All the Zeldas are games I would love to review someday. A whole bunch of games I'd like to try out, which I don't sure how long those are, so I'm not sure what to put there. We've got, a bunch of 4X games. We've got the Xenosagas. They're actually on my list, by the way. Red Alerts, stuff like that. Many Yakuza games. Yakuza 2, Kiwami, Yakuza 3, Yakuza 4, Yakuza 5, Yakuza 6. All the Kingdom Hearts, most of the Dragon Quests. Several Assassin's Creed games, multiple Infamous games. I have plenty of long games on my wish list, too. I also have some short games, like the Mega Man X's, Mega Man 8, Mega Man 9, Mega Man 10, Blaster Master. I really want to stream Blaster Master 0 and Blaster Master 02. In fact, I haven't streamed those games yet at all. We've got the Ratchet and Clanks. We got SteamWorld Dig. Have you even heard of the SteamWorld series? Right now, we've reviewed Awakening on the Switch. We've reviewed half of Ocarina. We're going to finish Ocarina soon. Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's it, because we haven't actually reviewed Breath of the Wild. Then there's all the WoW stuff, which is on here as well. And there's the Tor stuff. Then there's the FF14 stuff. Crusader Kings 3 is something. Half Minute Hero is something I'd like to. So you get my point. I can strategize, but it depends on whether I go first. Correct, Mike Romano. I go first, or you guys go first. So let me make this poll really quick. And I'm gonna... Yes, Breath of the Wild could be nominated, absolutely. I'm gonna go ahead and... I think I typed that up nice and clearly. If it's not clear, please let me know. Now I'm gonna go see why Valerian hates me so much. Jesus Christ, Valerian. You're killing me. Thank you. Thank you very, 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 very much, sir. Thank you very, very much for your support, sir. I will put that towards Star Ocean 2 and Xenogears. Yeah, probably not, Zach Death. Nobody likes Captain America, anyways. Well, unfortunately, I can't edit the poll. I can make a new one. Hang on, how many people have voted so far? 27 people. Do you guys think I should remake the poll really quick? Because now's the time to do that if we're doing that. Sunless Sea is a game I'd like to do at some point. I'm gonna go ahead and toss this onto Discord really quick. And Twitter. Make sure to vote in the poll. That's where I get the feedbacks. Final Fantasy 13 Imperial Star Destroyer. Okay. So I've posted. I'll put that in the VOD, of course. Yeah, sure. Hang on. And, speaking of which, I need to update the thing here. Where is it? Give me a sec. I need to update the link in Nightbot so that if you type in Voot, you should get the correct poll. There it is. Change it to that one. Could someone do me a favor and type Voot in chat really quick, please? And let's see if that's the right one. Yep, okay. We're good. Alright, so that vote's going to be up for a while. I mean, this is something that's coming up in the future. It's just, you know me, I like to plan ahead. I like to have... Believe it or not, I like to plan for tomorrow. Yes, I did, Zaktat. So... that is it for Loreweek. Feel free to continue to give me your feedback. As usual, I'm going to go and get the VOD uploaded here.